Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elite City Podcast. It seems the days that we record, major things happen. So,
they've booked a show in Chicago on June 21st.
yes,
Which I think I texted you a while ago when they booked Forbidden Door that I noticed they had all the weeks booked up until the week before Forbidden Door.
right.
And I was thinking, oh, maybe if Toronto sells really well for Forbidden Door, they'll put Dynamite there too, because it's
Right.
They left the date open. But no, they left the date open for apparently another reason. And it seems like that reason involves everyone's good friend, Mr. CM Punk.
It looks like that's the day. The big news of the afternoon, it kind of broke about late afternoon, is from what we know so far, is that apparently, again, we're recording on Thursday, so yesterday before Dynamite, Punk had a meeting with Jericho, and that was been in Milwaukee, and
Punk actually put on Instagram a photo of like a building in Milwaukee to hype everyone up.
Yeah, so apparently the meeting went well, and there's also, again, this is all speculation. This could change at the drop of a hat.
And a lot of this comes from Fightful, as far as we know.
Yes.
We don't have any sources where.
Yeah, our source. Yeah, I should have said that at the beginning. Our
source
right
is like us and maybe Biddy.
Yes, possibly. Actually, no, I told her. So.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah. So it's back to us.
There you go.
So yeah, this could change one way or the other, or fall apart, or get better. It's also pro wrestling, so it's really not that important what happens in the grand scheme of things.
Correct.
But saying, there are rumors that Punk said he has agreed to work with the Elite, which why wouldn't you? I mean, we're gonna get there. And
he also said that he's willing to work and not be involved with the Elite if that's what they want.
Right. Like, and I'm going to say this now. You said that from the very, very, very beginning. This is a multi-million-dollar company. You can find ways to have people work for the same place and not be involved. So
right.
Yeah. So we are less than 70 days away, and the whole entire outlook on everything just changed yet again.
Yeah. And I also heard, I don't know if I sent this to you, but I also heard Meltzer on one of his shows or his podcast or whatever it is he does, basically said that the only way he can see Punk not coming back is if Punk doesn't want to come back.
Right.
And from all we know is Punk does want to come back. So
yeah, if Punk wants to come back, and he has been missing it, he's been in contact pretty regularly with just by the people on Twitter that I follow. Like Danhausen lost a family member a couple weeks back, and Punk bought him. I mean, me and you looked it up. It's like $40,000 comic book.
Yeah,
if not more money. Like, and like, so those two hang out all the time.
Brody King has been hanging out with
King.
Punk. There's been a lot of photos with him.
Yeah, and of course,
I think Hobbs has been with him a bit.
Oh, nice! I didn't know about
so.
Hobbs. That's cool.
I think so. I could be wrong, but yeah, and of course Dax and Cash.
Yeah, and of course Dax and Cash, and again, we also don't know, in the grand scheme of things, that he could have been meeting with Tony, and I mean, they're also millionaires who can fly around,
right, without anyone kind of noticing. Correct.
Yeah, and at the drop of a hat.
Yeah,
like
they don't need to board a commercial jet and fly somewhere where like people would see them. People would see Tony Khan like on a United Airlines flight to Chicago.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you send the jet out for these. If there were preliminary talks, go have lunch somewhere. No one needs to see it. That's my guess how things started.
Yeah,
if they even went that far, they could have just, talked on the phone or whatever, but
right.
whatever. But
But it
anyway,
definitely seems like, unless something wrong, which you never know, it could.
yes,
It seems like he'll be back,
yes.
and
Uh,
likely for it. Also it makes sense because they have, after Forbidden Door, they have the big show in
right.
London, and then they
Yes.
have the pay-per-view in Chicago. And the rumor is they were trying to book a larger arena for Chicago, booking the United Center instead of the building that they usually use. I forget what it's called now. Is it
Okay.
Wintrust? I don't remember what it's called now.
Wintrust Arena.
Rather than booking that building, they've been trying to book the United Center instead.
Okay.
So it all seems to fit together.
It seems to fit together very nicely. And again, going back to, if the big rumor is true about, Punk wanting to work with the Elite, and the Elite would be, I don't want to say I'd lose respect for them, because it's your life, your decision if they would say no, but how do you say no to that?
Yeah, I think that what they're going to do, and if there's this is just guessing. I have no one's mentioned this. This is just me guessing.
Okay.
They are the Bucks and Kenny's contracts are up this year. I
Mhm.
feel like if they're smart and they want to go this direction, they might say, "Hey, Tony Khan, yeah, you can bring Punk back, but that's going to make it a bit worse for us to work here. So if you want us to stay, maybe you have to give us a bit more money." And I don't know if that's actually true, or if they're just going to use that as a way to get themselves more money. And if they are, like, yeah, why would you not try to get more money?
Yeah, heck yeah.
I feel like that could be why they're saying, oh, the Bucks haven't met with him yet because they're working on the contract negotiations. I think that it's possibly that they're trying
Point.
to use this in their favor.
That's a very good point. And just to play devil's advocate here, do you think moving forward, or you think even possibly right now, that everybody's contract moving forward, if you if you stir the pot per se, uh there's repercussions?
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like that would make sense. That Tony
say,
Khan going forward would say that, like, we did see that someone leaked their like social media rules essentially for people who are working with AEW. So I feel like they probably have a lot of those rules in place, and they probably put in a lot more rules in recent times, just to be like, for all the fact that Jericho was involved in this, he was also made a good point saying, like, they're a multi-million-dollar company and they need to act like a multi-million-dollar company, and multi-million-dollar companies have those things in place. Like, they have policies for what you do if there's an argument between people who work together, right? Like, they have policies for all these things. So,
and
what did you think of the? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What did you think of the rumor or the report that the Saturday show will give them some leeway to keep people separate? And Sean Ross Sapp didn't say that it was about Punk specifically, just it would give them leeway to keep people separate if that's what they wanted. Not just them, just anybody who disagree, anybody who doesn't get along, they could keep them separate.
I like it, and I'm glad you brought this up, because after you brought that up to me, I started to think, even if they had, like, everybody there is just basically the WWE. Everybody always thinks as soon as you have a second show, it's obviously worse, and it's minor league and terrible. And, like, I hate the fact that everyone's like, oh, is it going to be an A show or a B show? Like,
right.
I think they want to get rid of that mentality, and it's just going to be like, for lack of a better word, like part of their cinematic universe.
Right.
And I think if they do it that way, you could have the Dynamite on Wednesdays, that whatever that show will be called and whatever that format is on Saturdays, as they're two separate things. And then on Friday night, people from both shows, because I mean they're all going to be traveling together, obviously,
Right.
because they're just going to tape after Dynamite. So
yeah, it sounds like they'll be running Saturday kind of not separated, but like Dynamite and Rampage will tape on the same day, and then the other show will tape on Saturday or air on Saturday Live. We don't know. And that will kind of allow them to, if they could be in two different places, right? Right now, they basically, if they're going to do two shows close to each another, they have to book them close to each other. Like they're not going to book New York and then Los Angeles and then New York again, right? Like they're not going to make people do that. But in theory, they could book, a Dynamite Rampage in New York and then the Saturday show in LA, and then Dynamite Rampage could be in New Jersey, and then the Saturday show could be in, Las Vegas. They could theoretically have two groups of people if that's what they wanted to do.
And I dig that. I don't want there to be like necessarily a brand, like two different brands. Like I still want it to be like all under the AEW.
I agree. I wouldn't like an actual like hard brand split, but just two different shows.
Yeah. And then, you could have people just float between both, or have your state, some people just how right now there's like people on Rampage. We've talked about it before. Like it was weird when Hook started to be on Dynamite.
Right. Yeah. Like he was like a Rampage guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have this, like people will turn into, oh, that's whatever the Saturday show will be called. They fit over there better or whatever. I don't know.
What do you think this means for Rampage? Because Rampage, like they haven't made it a B show. Like I think they've legitimately generally tried. Like some episodes are obviously weaker than others, but they've tried to put decent title matches and stuff on Rampage. But just the fact that it airs Friday at 10 o'clock is it's never going to be as popular as Dynamite. Like you're never going to get as many people watching Rampage as Dynamite.
And I think Rampage becomes I don't want to say the B show. I still think it'll be a viable show, but I think it'll be the stepping stone show because of the time slot.
Yeah.
Like, that'll be not like all rookies, but that'll be people that are bigger than Dark and Elevation and Ring of Honor. Like, if you outgrow that before you're on Dynamite, you'll go to Rampage. That's what I.
And I would like to see them have like more, not actually what they do on Road 2, but more like little video packages to like highlight wrestlers who maybe haven't had that much time on TV, but they can do like little like vignettes for them talking about, why they're here or what they want to do or whatever. That would be kind of cool to put on Rampage.
That would be really cool. Yeah, I'm down for that. Oh, it's like so much happened.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you were just talking about it, like the fact that I know like Tony Khan's a rich person, obviously, and AEW has been around for like 4 years now.
Yeah.
But in 4 years, they're going to have 3 wrestling shows and a reality show and a ROH, which is a totally different thing. Like that's nuts that they went from nothing to this.
And they're a failing company. I mean,
of course, the network is just waiting to cancel them. That's why they keep giving them additional shows.
Right. Yeah.
That's what networks do, right? When they're upset with your ratings, they just give you additional programming.
Absolutely, because they figure you get enough of them out there, one will stick.
Someone's got to watch eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So, my next obvious question for you, if he's coming back obviously 4 days before Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
What's his match at Forbidden Door?
See, I was thinking about this.
Role at Forbidden Door.
There's a part of me that's thinking he might not have a match at Forbidden Door because obviously they want him at the show in London. And they obviously want him at the show in Chicago, like the pay-per-view All Out in Chicago at the end of September, or whenever it is in September. I could see them not booking him in a match for Forbidden Door, and like he'll be on the pay-per-view, but he'll just be doing something.
Okay.
Because if that's actually when he comes back, and at this point he'll be out for 10 months or however many months it's been, with an injury, they really don't want him to come back after missing 10 months and like get hurt and then miss the show in London and the show in Chicago. And I would love to be like, oh yeah, he's going to be at Forbidden Door and be in like a marquee match with some cool guy from Japan, because like I want to see that. But I can see them. I can see them being pretty careful with him coming back because I mean the first time he got hurt, he did get hurt like jumping into the stand, so that was like a fluke random thing.
Right.
That's probably never going to happen again. But they really, because of it, not that he's injury prone. I don't think he is particularly injury prone, but just I could see them not wanting to risk that. I could see them wanting, the summer of Punk, and he's going to be there and doing stuff. But
yeah,
they don't want him getting hurt at Forbidden Door, and then he's out for another 6 months, and then he misses like their big shows. And Forbidden Door's already sold out, basically, so they don't need to.
True.
They don't need to announce a CM Punk match to sell tickets, but they need to announce it's not need, but it would really help them to announce a CM Punk match to sell tickets in London.
True. And you can still do a quote unquote dream match. Like it's not like, oh, we'll have to wait till Forbidden Door next year.
Right.
You know, like, yeah, that's true. And once you said that out loud, you're right. You don't want to save him, but you also don't want to throw him right into the fire.
Yeah, but yeah, mostly because he's been out for so long. Like, it's hard, and he's older, right? He's not ancient, but he's older. So he probably wouldn't get hurt in a match, because I hate this idea that now that the internet seems to have that, like, oh, he's old and injury prone. He's not worth it. He got hurt literally once. Like the one time was jumping into the stands and he broke his foot. That was random. Like that could happen to anybody on Earth.
Correct.
The second time, yes, he got injured during a match, but that doesn't make him injury prone. Who hasn't gotten injured in a match? Like there's all kinds of wrestlers who have been. No one's calling Cody injury prone or I don't know who else is there. Anyone. No one's calling any other wrestler who got injured once. They're not calling them injury prone, except for CM Punk, which is kind of ridiculous. Like maybe they're right. Maybe he comes back and gets hurt again, and I'll be wrong. But at this point, I wouldn't say he's injury prone. I just say he's valuable, and you don't necessarily want to risk that, especially if they announce him coming back. Like if they want to sell tickets to London, and they're like, oh yeah, CM Punk's going to have this incredible match at London, and then they sell all these tickets, and then he gets hurt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, so they're not going to want. I think they're going to be extra careful with him.
I was thought the total opposite of this until you said all that out loud the first way through, and I was like, yeah, I agree with you now. It's a business move and it's a marketing move, but it's also a like it's a you don't want his first match to be. You want it to be special is what I'm getting at.
Right.
So you put it on the special show. So yeah.
So how do you think, say he does come back on that show in Chicago? I mean, Sean Ross Sapp said it's around that date. So he could come back the week before or whatever. We don't know for sure.
Right.
Say it's that week in Chicago. How do you bring him back? Like, do you announce it? Do you have someone challenge him? Like, what do you do?
I think you do exactly what you did the last time. You just let the internet build it again. And I mean, now that we have a window, like, we had like last time, because Darby said, even if you think you're the best in the world, or his little quote or whatever,
right?
We have those 3 weeks to have a surprise. If you just keep it at that, I'm good enough for it. All I want to hear out of nowhere is the static and call to personality, and that would be incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I think they don't announce it because I never like when they announce returns, just because I understand why they do it, because they want me to watch the show.
Right.
But I always think it's more fun when it's a surprise. So I think the way they did it last time was perfect. Everyone kind of knew he was going to be there, but you still you weren't 100% sure. So like you still could be surprised.
There's going to be an uptick in not only just interest in AEW, but in the ratings too, because just this afternoon I was looking on Twitter and social media in general, and AEW has been dominating the social media aspect of things just because of CM Punk. Like, there is such a it's a hard line, but you either love the guy or hate the guy, and it's all the internet talked about. Like, people were talking about it during WrestleMania weekend, And
Yeah, I mean,
it was zero traction then.
he hasn't
Good.
been on TV since what, September?
Yes.
And
Right.
everybody talks about him all the time.
Right.
Like we've said before, like our podcast that
Right.
talk about CM Punk do better than the ones that don't talk
Yeah.
about CM. And we're like one podcast who has no connection to anything.
Yeah, just the word CM Punk gets put in the title or talked about for a few minutes during, and it does better numbers. That's
Right.
not a joke.
Like Tony Khan is not dumb. Like he knows this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think
But
isn't his thing at the Jaguars, isn't it like analytics or something like that? Isn't that
yes.
his job with the Jaguars? So I
Yeah.
feel like he tracks all this stuff on the internet. He could tell what people are talking about. He probably has done research or so had someone do research for him on who's talking about what online. And it's obviously like it's been CM Punk for 8 months or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's so absurd. Like I just said, like WrestleMania weekend happened and the Punk rumors didn't even have traction and they were still like performing on par with WrestleMania.
right. Yeah.
Like unreal. So okay, we're gonna do before we get into the regular show.
Yes, we are going to do a regular show. I know last week we talked a lot about WWE at the beginning, and I don't know if that didn't went over that well, but at least we talked about AEW this week. But
yes.
And we will do Dynamite. So just hang on.
Yeah, just give us a few more minutes here. With all that being said, does he get a mic? Is that how he comes back?
Yeah, I think he does. And I know some people are like, "Oh, you can't trust him with an open mic anymore." And I kind of understand where they're coming from because yeah, the last time, like not even at the press conference time, but like actually the most unprofessional I thought CM Punk ever was in AEW was when he called out Hangman that time, was like, Hangman, come out here, and like challenged him, knowing that he wasn't going to come out. Like that was bad. That was I'd say worse than the press conference stuff, because that was like knowing he wasn't going to be on TV and calling and making him look bad on your like actual broadcast. Whereas the press conference stuff, yes, obviously got traction, but it was a press conference after it aired at like I didn't watch it. It was like at 1 a.m. or something. Like
right.
So I get that they're concerned about that, but I also think that he's not dumb and he realizes that like hopefully he's not. Yeah, he has a short fuse, or he gets offended easily. I believe he does, but he's can't be dumb enough to realize that if he came back and immediately did that again, like he's just gonna get suspended again
or fired.
Right.
Like yeah, no company is going to put up with that, no matter how much money you make them.
Yeah, and no matter how big of a ratings draw you are, like they can't have that happen again. And I think he knows that.
Okay, now again, playing devil's advocate, if everybody agrees to work together, again, even if the argument works, shoot or whatever, do you say that like do you build the tension by putting them in situations together all the time?
I would, if they say everyone's cool and they've all worked it out and everyone's happy and like or they're even not happy but like willing to work together and like and have an angle on TV with one another, I would honestly be tempted to have him like fly off the handle on TV, like, and everyone knowing that that's what he's going to do.
Right.
Kind of like when MJF did his little thing.
Right.
And just have him be like
reenact the
essentially be like
stuff,
be unprofessional on TV, but this time it's all going to be part of a story.
Right.
And because that's going to get a lot more buzz. I hate this idea that I know he said the apology must be as loud and public as the disrespect or whatever. And I know he said that.
Yeah.
But people on the internet have this idea. They're like, oh, no, now because he insulted them on TV, he needs to apologize on TV. I never want him to apologize on TV. Ever.
No.
Ever. Because if he can apologize backstage, he can do whatever he wants when he's not on TV. But like, he should never apologize on TV because that kills it.
Yeah. I totally agree.
The whole thing everybody wants to see is what's going to happen when him and Hangman get together, or him and Kenny get together. Like, are they going to be able to work together? What are they going to say? What are they going to do? If they come out and are like, we're all friends now, like that wrecks it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if they are, like, even if they buried the hatchet and they hang out and are best friends, I want
Right.
there to be a fake division line of,
Yes.
of, I don't like, no, blur that line continuously.
I would love for them to like have him be only on the Saturday show for a while, or have the Elite only on the Saturday show and him on Dynamite just for a little bit, just to be like, oh, so there's rumors that they don't get along. That's why this is just, yeah, play it up. Like,
yeah,
I want them to play it up 100%.
Yeah, you have to.
So like, I'm thinking you might not even give him a mic on his first night back. Maybe you tease that. Maybe you have him be, he's going to be doing something else, like a backstage segment, or he's just going to come out and say hi to the crowd, but he doesn't have much time or whatever. And then you build up to, we're going to give CM Punk a live mic next week just to get people to watch. But I feel like Chicago would get really upset if he came out and didn't talk.
Yeah. I mean, do you maybe even give him a segment with Renee?
Unless he's going to be a heel. I mean, if he's going to be a heel, I could see him coming back and just like, I'm not going to talk about it. Just to like make people mad.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Is he going to be a heel?
Right.
But
because the way to get him booed in Chicago is to have him not do what you want him to do, right? Everyone wants him to come out and cut a promo and tell his side of the story. What if he's just like, yeah, I'm not doing that?
True. That is.
That's a Paul Heyman thing. Like when Paul Heyman was talking about, like, I don't mean to bring up Cody again, but when Paul Heyman was talking about Roman and Cody, Paul Heyman said like, oh, what everybody wanted was for Cody to win. So the most heelish thing Roman Reigns could have done is cheat so he doesn't win.
I mean, I guess.
I don't agree with it, but that's what he said.
I mean,
so
yeah.
It's Punk not talking is a 100% Paul Heyman thing, saying that, the crowd really wants him to talk, well, we're not going to let him talk.
That's good. But it's also good if you want to make him heel, but like have like a not full blown heel and bring him back in Chicago, knowing it'll have like the MJF effect. Like,
right.
Unless he lights someone on fire, he's going to get cheered there, or doesn't talk at all. Just him showing up and clapping his hand, we're going to go insane.
I would actually like if they did like when Cody was in, not to bring up Cody again, I know I bring it up all the time, but when Cody was not a heel but was acting like everyone was booing him, but like he was being a face, I kind of want to see them do that with Punk. Like he thinks he's right and he thinks he's a good guy and he thinks,
oh, that would be great.
He thinks everybody should be cheering for him. Why are they not cheering for him? How dare they not cheer for him? Like, I would kind of like that.
Oh, if Punk became the new Cody, that would be incredible.
And became like really full of himself, being like, I did everything for you. I came back after 7 years and I injured myself and I came back and how dare you boo me?
Oh my God, that needs to happen now. Punk needs to be the new Cody.
That would be good.
That would be so great.
There's so many ways to do this and so many things you could do with this that like it's exciting and you can't screw it up. Like I think it's unscrewable, right? Like
yeah. Well, unless you let Vince book it.
Yeah.
I mean that's the way you screw it up. But
other than that, Vince booking it, someone would come out of retirement just to beat CM Punk,
and then Goldberg.
Yeah, and then that person would get squashed by like somebody nobody likes.
Lesnar.
Yeah.
Just go right down the line. and then at the end of that line it would be either Cena or
it would end with like QT Marshall winning, but then QT Marshall retires so that like no one gets to beat it. Like it would just end up terrible.
Yes. Oh my. What a day.
Yes. And what a Dynamite. Great episode.
Well, it was like 99.9% good.
Yes, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. Anyways, they came out swinging on Dynamite. Darby versus Swerve, and I loved they got into like the backstory. And the way they've been handling this with everything. I mean, even with, well, we'll get into it with the Keith Lee stuff later, but you brought up a point. They brought up an NXT story. So
Right.
it the stories that they're telling right now are awesome.
And how good is Swerve that he's in simultaneous stories. He has like
Yes.
the Mogul affiliates guys, then he has the embassy guys, then he has his thing with Darby, and he has his thing with Keith Lee. Like he's in like multiple stories at the same time, and they're all interesting.
Yeah, he bookended the show, and oh, it was just so good.
This was a lot more like not technical, but more of like a trading holds, going after weak points match than I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be more like just either high flying or violence.
Yeah.
And not saying that was bad. Like it was a good match. I loved it,
Oh,
but
I love the match
it
too.
was a different style of match than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I agree. And it showcased both of their skills on a level of, like, Darby always throws it in, but then Darby always has those spots like where someone picks him up and throws him off of something. And then
Right.
the opposite end of that Swerve, he'll get into, like, again, not that I mind it, but he'll get into his flips and twists and stuff. But this, like, you hit the nail on the head. It was pretty much, it's the first half of it was like a straight up wrestling match almost.
Right. Yeah. And it was a good match. Like they're both
Oh,
obviously really good. And Swerve is
um,
outstanding. Like I like Darby, but Swerve is outstanding. He's so good at everything.
it's how WWE did not see any talent in him. I mean, I'm glad they cut him, but
Yeah.
I mean, geez.
You can tell now because they brought back like the stable that he had, Hit Row, and they're
Uh,
terrible.
there you go.
Like they're terrible without him. Like they were really cool at NXT when he was there, but as soon as now that he's gone, like they're terrible.
Oh, there you go.
It would be like if they put tattoo face guy and Parker and Brian Cage in a faction and just like left them, and like that's the group.
Oh man.
Like it would not go. Like they're all fine, but it would not go over as well as adding Swerve. Like Swerve can make everything good.
Yeah. And he's good both ways. Like when him and they were together, they were awesome. And now,
Yeah,
like, he's a great heel.
yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
What do you think
Um,
of the? What do you think of the new? What are they called now? The Mogul Embassy.
I I dig the name way better.
Yes.
I and I I like how it seems to gonna be a little bit between Ring of Honor and AEW. So I hope that it stays that way. I think that's a
Yeah.
cool dynamic. I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder. Do you think Tattoo Face Man's coming back, or did they exile him? He hasn't been
I
around in a long time.
I think he's donezo.
I know he has a name, but I've refused to use it.
I It's never going to be anything other than tattooed face man. I mean, that's. I mean, Parker Boudreaux has a big upside,
Yeah,
and
he's still like very inexperienced, but I can see him having an upside to him. But I don't know about the other guy.
yeah, it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against people with tattoos, and I have nothing against people doing whatever they want to their body.
Yes, I agree.
But me personally, I just do not take you seriously. And I know that guy could pick me up and break me in half in real life multiple ways. I'm not saying that I'm not scared of him. I'm just saying that I don't take you seriously, as in I think you look funny.
I think he would do well if he was like, maybe he'll come back and he'll just be like, he should just be like the guy standing menacingly in the background who never really does much, but like
Yeah,
he's just there.
and when he does get involved, like, it's bad.
Right. Yeah. I would
Like,
like to see him do that.
that would be awesome. Like, yeah, like if he would jump over the ropes, like, Swerve is in a lot of trouble.
Right.
Oh,
And the
yeah,
rest of the
no,
time he kind of just like, wears a hoodie and paces in the background or something. And like, that's his thing.
now see, that already made him 10 times more interesting, and that's not even real.
Yeah. There you go.
He just needs something more than what
Because right
he
now he's basically
was.
just tattoo face guy. Like he has no thing.
Yeah,
He doesn't have anything. He's just like, yeah.
yeah, he's nothing. Sorry, tattoo face man. Um,
We wish you the
Well,
best.
we do wish you the best though in your future endeavors. Yes, got that in there. Uh, but they didn't fire him, so I don't even know why I said it. Darby had a clean win, and if you notice, well, I noticed this. Sammy has been like getting match after match after match, and they're like saying, "Oh, well, Sammy's climbing the ladder to get to Darby," but like Jungle Boy has only had one, and now Darby has had his first, and they're all on the
Right.
same level still.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Sammy's not like three ahead,
Right.
so it's like, what was the point of that? Like sometimes I think, oh, go ahead.
Here's what I was thinking about what they're doing with the three of them, because
Okay.
I don't actually know what they're doing with the three of them.
Okay.
It kind of feels like they're giving them each a week. Like Jungle Boy gets
Oh,
a week to do and
okay.
see it, not just to see how well he does at his match. Obviously, they know what they can do as wrestlers, but like how well do they work with MJF? Like did their promos go well together? How well does the crowd like it? Like does the crowd want it? And they're kind of like trying to, because they have time till the next pay-per-view, right? So
True.
I could see them kind of being like, okay, so who does the crowd like more? What's a more interesting dynamic between two guys? And then like a couple weeks before the pay-per-view, they'll pick one of them, and that's the one who I don't know. To me, it seems kind of like a trial. Like they're kind of trying each of them out to see
I
who's going to work out better.
and the thing that I like about it is obviously even Sammy plays like the heel when he's with Jericho, but when you're against MJF, even if you're a heel, you're the baby face because
Right.
nobody's gonna be a bigger heel than him.
Right.
All three going into that match are obviously the baby face. So if the title would change hands, you still get like if Sammy would then be officially a baby face. In my
Right.
mind anyway. Would
Yeah,
you agree to that?
I agree. I think not that Sammy's necessarily going to win the title. I don't
Oh
necessarily
no,
think he
no, no.
will.
I'm not, yeah, I don't
But
think so either.
if he did win the title, I could see them doing kind of like what WWE did with Evolution when Randy Orton won the belt and then Triple H was upset. And
Okay.
that kind of turned Randy Orton face because Triple H was a bigger heel than he was. So I could see Sammy winning the title, being a face for that one night, and then the way you get him to stay being a face is Jericho gets jealous that
That would
he's the champion and like turns on him, and then Sammy remains a face. But I think you're right that if Sammy was the one who won, he just is a face now.
yeah. So well, here's my I'm gonna throw you a curveball. By the time the next pay-per-view runs around, MJF just hit 143 days as
Yes,
champion.
you
So
got to get it over 1,000.
yes. Oh, okay,
And no
good.
matter
Three
what,
more years.
no matter who you have challenging him, no matter what the
Okay.
situation is, no matter how
Okay.
much people hate it, you got to get him over 1,000 days.
Perfect. So we got. Well, I'll be 46. Okay.
It's just like several more years, just like 3 more years. That's it.
I'm down. um,
Because how could that get old?
I don't see any problem with it at all.
If you just had like a
Personally,
heel cheating for 3 straight years, how
right,
could that get old? It can't. There's no way.
right. I don't. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to happen, right?
Exactly. That's how wrestling
Yeah.
works. That's what the fans want to see. The same guy doing the same thing absolutely over and over again. And you're desperately hoping someone else will beat him, and they never do.
Even if you build them up to.
Yeah. No matter how
Uh,
much the fans like the other guys, never have them win.
oh, it's
That's why
amazing.
people watch sports and TV, right? To see the
Yes,
people they like fail miserably.
yes, yeah. To turn something on to make them mad
Yes.
and feel unfulfilled at the end of it. That's
for years on end. That's what people
yeah,
want.
not just one random time.
Right, not
Over
one
and over.
episode. No, not like a couple weeks. But always for years.
4 years and many to come. It looks like.
That's right.
Uh, does MJF lose the title at Double or Nothing?
I don't think so. He could, because whoever beats him is going to be another young guy who could have a long title reign. I don't think he does, especially if Punk comes back.
Okay.
If Punk is coming back, because I think that they would love to do a Punk MJF storyline for the title. And I don't think Punk would win the title. I just think they would love to do a Punk MJF storyline for the title because that was their actual plan before. And I think Tony Khan doesn't like changing plans.
I agree. I hope. Like, obviously, they're not going to change anything going into this pay-per-view, which I like. Like, it's not like, oh, okay, our guy's back, so we're going to scrap everything,
right,
and go to what we were going to do a year ago. No,
right.
They're going to play this out. This can end, and then you start the next one.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, speaking of MJF, after Darby wins the match, his music hits, and he delivers a pretty good MJF style promo.
Yeah.
But Darby probably cut the promo of his career.
Yeah, I've noticed that in this angle, and I think it's because they're giving them the time. Or maybe it's because they're in a main event storyline, or because they're against MJF. But like Jungle Boy and Sammy also cut probably the best promos of their career in this storyline. So it's been good.
And like I said earlier, like with Darby and Swerve, Darby brought back, he doesn't hide. He pulls the curtain back and doesn't hide. Like, hey, I've known you since you've been like from the beginning, and you've always been a jerk. And
I loved his are you happy now? Because I remember when we were working our way up, you always said if you were on national TV and the world champion, you'd be happy, and you're still not happy. I like that.
Oh, it was a great line,
and it worked great because MJF's whole thing is he hates himself.
Right. And then out of the clear blue, Sting's music hits.
Oh, this was so good.
It was so good. It was incredible. And then Sting just goes bananas. If Darby cut the promo of his career, Sting cut the promo of his life. That thing was awesome.
Sting doesn't talk much, but when he does, it's so good.
Oh, so good. And my favorite part of the whole promo, and it only worked because MJF understands pro wrestling and not just his character, when Sting put him in like the little like fake headlock and like messed his hair up a little bit.
Yeah.
And like normally MJF would get like furious, and then when he let go, like he'd fix his clothes and fix his scarf. It was like, no, this is Sting. I can't do that.
Right.
Because then I'd be overshadowing him. So like, MJF's so good. He just took it and then just looked like semi annoyed, like the Oh, it was just so good.
And I could even see it from his like character viewpoint, being like, "Oh, I can't look bad in front of Sting,
right?
So I have to look like I didn't care because it's right. Like, he doesn't care if he looks bad in front of like Darby because he thinks he's better than Darby, but you can tell like he knows he's not better than Sting."
Oh, there's so many levels to that. It was so good. And then, of course, the line of lines.
I was so happy
when he called it Cody Daycare, and then he goes, "Whoops, did I just say Cody?"
For a brief second, I thought he actually did make a mistake, and then I was like, "Oh no, that's part of it." But yeah, so good. And you mentioned that a long time ago, that when he was talking about how everyone had a veteran help them out, he had Cody, and they didn't mention that before. Do you think they mentioned Cody more now because he lost? Because they didn't mention Cody at all. They literally didn't mention Cody at all, and then he lost, and now they're like, okay, we can mention Cody again.
It just goes how you always say you always say AEW does a better job at handling WWE's history. They're doing a better job of getting Cody over.
They really are.
than WWE.
Somehow Cody is like a more important character on Dynamite. Then first of all, he is in WWE, and then he was when he was actually on Dynamite.
Yes. And the other end of that spectrum, Roman Reigns said one line and is more over in AEW than he ever was in WWE.
That's right.
Oh, that was
a fun time. I kind of like that. I like that. Like they were like
Yes.
the Roman Reigns thing was obviously Paul Heyman again, because that
Yeah.
screams Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
I like that Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman are at a level where they know no one else can get away with saying that stuff, but they can, because what are you going to do?
Right.
And I love that AEW isn't like, they mention history all the time, not just their history, everybody's history. So like it would be silly if they just completely forgot about Cody. So they haven't, and it was great.
Oh, it's so fun. Moving on. TNT.
I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
Sting said he doesn't have any desire to win the world title. Do you think that he kind of does, like in character?
Do
you think he's ever going to get a title match? I think he doesn't want one, but do you think he's ever going to get one?
I think he'd be forced into it, just because I think Tony Khan would, in Tony Khan's wrestling brain, like we both have. How cool would it be, the company that you started, if Sting was your world champion, even if it was like on his last night?
Right. Even if he had it and then like immediately get retired or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like then they just have a tournament or so. You know what I mean? Like just to say that his name's on your lineage of the company that you started. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you force it into it.
I would love it, because I know he said he didn't want it in character. I don't think he wants it out of character, but like you saw how, like, everyone saw how cool it was to have him interact with MJF. Like, let them have a match. Yeah. They can cheat. Yeah. Like Darby can cheat and help him win. Like he doesn't win clean, but like that would be really cool.
Or it would be cool to give Sting, like, how they always have those eliminator matches.
Right.
Like, have Sting be the first person to beat a champion to get the title shot.
Right.
So like he would beat MJF clean once in the eliminator match to get the title shot, and then MJF could win. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he could win the title match.
Right. I would like to see it. I don't know if they'll do it, because I don't think Sting wants it, but I would like to see it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all in. It's the fun.
They could have it all in. There you go. Good booking.
Yeah. TNT Championship match. Will Hobbs versus Silas Young. It was a squash. I don't know why they did Silas the way they did, but we had Wardlow return.
Yes, because you knew when Hobbs brought in the car and talked about how much he liked the car,
right,
that it's wrestling. And you know what happens when anytime someone brings a car, it talks about how much they like that car.
I mean, no one will touch it. It'll just
of course
be
not.
safe.
Yes, he put a little rope in front of it, velvet rope in front of it. It was fine.
Yeah. I just like how it said Monstar real big on the side.
I love the little velvet rope, because it was just one rope. Like it wasn't around the whole car. It was just in one spot.
Oh, it's
great.
Pro wrestling.
But yes, Wardlow is back.
And were you surprised at the ovation?
A little bit, because they haven't done a great job with Wardlow.
Same here.
I don't know who's at fault for that, but they haven't done a great job with Wardlow. But that was really cool. And now they can probably have a real, like, solid feud between the two of them, which I've wanted for a while.
Next week, they get a match.
There you go.
I'll be there.
Yes, you will be there. I felt bad for Aaron Solo. I think he hit the back of his head on the table. It looked really bad.
Oh, that looked terrible.
I hope he's okay. That looked really bad.
Yeah. And I mean, just the way that it hit, like, that dude's all stars.
Yeah. But what do you think happens in that title match next week? Is it a clean, like, it's someone win clean, or do they extend this?
I think you extend it, because you're good. You gotta, if you're gonna make Hobbs the heel, just have him cheat, have him make him a full-blown heel.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's where QT's kind of been
exactly
out of place with Hobbs, but that's where you could use QT to, like, help him cheat.
Yeah, like have Solo run in from the crowd, or QT can distract the ref, and
right.
Someone can run in from the side. yeah, just have them do that on a consistent basis, and uh,
I think with Wardlow, what we've seen, I think honestly, the problem with Wardlow being champion happens a lot. And like the interesting part of it is him trying to become champion. And once he's champion, it's
yeah,
just like, what are you going to do? So they kind of have an opportunity now to have him chase the title again for a while. So I'd extend it. I'd have them make him have a match with QT the week after, like make him lose this week or next week. And then, oh, you want another title match? You have to beat this person. You want a title match? You have to do this, like just to build him
yeah,
up so that people really want to see him win.
yeah. I'm all in on that. I said it again.
There you go. Good. It's a good name for an event.
It is. Well, we got our first official glimpse at what the Bullet Club in AEW is going to be. It's
Bullet
called
Club Gold.
Bullet Club Gold. Very interesting.
Yes. Makes me think there's going to be more of them.
Yeah. Obviously, there's going to have to be, right?
Yeah, and I still don't know if it's going to be, is it going to be guys like from New Japan who come over, or is it going to be like AEW guys are going to be inducted into the Bullet Club? I have no idea.
Yeah,
I would like to see some AEW guys, like bring some guys who aren't doing much and have them join Bullet Club. That would be cool.
I'm okay with that. That's awesome.
I guess they're going to get gold. Are they going to get gold shirts?
I was just thinking of that.
Black shirts with gold writing or gold shirts with black writing? What do you think they do? I think black shirts with gold writing.
Yeah, black shirts with gold.
Because Bullet Club's kind of NWO, so like when they did spin-offs, they had black with red instead of black with white. So
yeah,
that would be cool. That's gonna be cool. I really want to see what happens with that.
Yeah, me too. And it's gonna be so fun. And I like how it's like week by week. They're just giving you. This was what 2 minutes, if that. They're just giving you a little piece, a little piece, a little piece. Oh, it's.
And I feel like, do you think they'll build it up to Forbidden Door? Like it's going to be a slow build up until Forbidden Door, until the Bullet Club does something.
Yeah, for the sole fact that Jay White was the leader of Bullet Club in New Japan, and it was his era and his time.
Yeah.
And blah blah. Eddie Kingston beats him, and he has to leave. And Forbidden Door, with whatever his storyline is going to be incredible.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of story there.
And didn't in Bullet Club in Japan they kicked out El Fantasmo, didn't they?
Yes,
because he was still loyal to Jay White.
Yes.
So is he gonna show up?
100% has to, because he's like the right hand man.
Right.
So.
That would be cool. He could show up. He could be in Bullet Club Gold. He's out of the original Bullet Club, but I like it. I know people get upset that like, oh, it's just like the NWO. The NWO was amazing. So and it it was 25 years ago. So yeah, do it again.
That's it. Yeah, it's fun. Like enjoy it. Buy their T-shirts and have fun. Like
yeah. I'm excited for this.
Oh, it's gonna be.
And I think it is gonna lead up to like a Bullet Club Gold versus original Bullet Club at Forbidden Door or something like that. That would be cool.
Absolutely. I mean,
and what do they do then about Jay White's? I guess you can't compete in Japan anymore, and you can't compete in New Japan. But this is AEW. He's an AEW,
right?
So they didn't say you can't wrestle people from New Japan,
right?
Even though because it's an AEW show.
Yeah, it's an AEW event.
Yeah.
Technicalities.
Technical correct, the best kind of correct, being technically right.
International Championship. Buddy Matthews, Orange Cassidy.
This was a great match.
This was off the charts. Again, if anybody had any doubts about Buddy Matthews, put this match on, because him and Orange Cassidy put on a clinic. This thing,
it was so good. Yeah, this was Matthews' best match in AEW for sure.
I totally agree. Like it almost makes me like wish I love him in the House of Black. I'm not saying he needs to leave, but a singles run would be so fun.
Yeah, this is a bit of a problem I have with the trios titles. Like when they were on the Elite. Like I just wanted to see Kenny Omega have singles matches, and he was in the
Yes.
trio. Like I do feel like the trios title, and I get why it's there because the roster is huge, but the trios title does kind of take away talent from the tag division and take away talent from the singles division. And I know that they kind of need that because like you can't have everyone, like there's only so many spots in singles matches. But like I would love to see Malachi in singles matches. I would love to see, you know, Buddy Matthews in singles matches or Brody King. Like they're all really good in singles matches. So
like it's like you just said though, it is a great problem to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, it just means you have talent coming out the wazoo.
Speaking of talent, how good is Julia Hart getting?
She's amazing.
Like, she's doing a really great job with like since she joined House of Black, she's getting better and better every week.
Yeah. And like talk about just going like 180.
Yeah.
I mean, when she came in, she was the bubbly cheerleader.
Yeah.
And then she said she wanted to change and she did this. And I mean, she's killing it.
And she's doing like all like the little things, like the facial expressions and like the little, she's so good at all those little things.
Yeah. And if those three are coaching her, she must be a sponge because if weekly she's getting better.
Yeah, for sure.
Orange Cassidy, he wins physical match, clean win. Do you think that his title reign is about over?
Yeah, I like how they're doing it too because he's just having so many matches and he's getting a little bit more, you know, beaten up and now he has the injured hand. Like he's getting. Yes. I love when they do that. Like a fighting champion just like has so many matches that like the wear and tear of the matches starts to get to him.
Yeah.
And it's so opposite from what WWE does because WWE, like every show exists in its own little universe, right? Like they don't. The stuff that happened the week before doesn't necessarily affect the stuff that's happening this week. But I love that, like, oh yeah, he's wrestled a lot, so of course he's going to get a little bit more beat up every week. He's going to be a little bit like a team on like a huge winning streak. Like eventually they're going to get tired,
right?
So or they're going to get hurt or something. And yeah, I think it's about over. I don't know who's going to take the title, but I think it's like one match, maybe two, and I think it's going to be over. I hope it's Malachi actually.
Malachi would be awesome. And that's who like I hope would win it.
Yeah.
The other person I would want to win it would be Roosh, but
oh yeah, that would be good.
There's no story there though, but I like Orange Cassidy kind of keeps like an open challenge, so like in my brain there's hope for that.
Right.
But
yeah, that would actually be really good.
Well, speaking of Orange Cassidy and best friends, Renee had a little sit down with Orange Cassidy, and he was so injured he could barely speak. But best friends challenged Aussie Open for the IWGP tag titles.
I love that because they're like, "How about you fly over on Friday?" Like everyone in the arena is like, "We know that show's taping in like an hour."
I that was amazing.
Now, see, I'm looking at the results on the AEW website, and they say that in between the Orange Cassidy match and the vignette, there was a Luchasaurus and Christian promo. I don't remember that happening, but I like may have walked away because it was a commercial. Did that happen?
Promo? They didn't talk.
No, they said like a little vignette with like last week where they had like the red light. I'm assuming because I don't remember seeing it. But
I don't remember seeing it either.
Reading this recap, I thought that maybe it was like coming back from commercial when I like went to get a drink or something.
Was Ethan Page next? Is that the next thing that happened?
Yeah. It's weird. Maybe I missed it.
I must have missed it too. I'm trying to think. Like, did I like run to the kitchen or something? Because I didn't write it down. I have nothing wrote down.
Yeah, I feel like I must have went to like a snack. Maybe it was short, and I like missed it.
Interesting.
But anyway,
funny that we both missed it.
But yes,
yeah.
Or Aussie Open, best friends. That'll be fun.
Oh, it'll be unreal. Obviously they're not going to beat them, but do you think this can maybe start something for Forbidden Door, or
Yeah. I mean, Ospreay is injured, but he had an outstanding match with Orange Cassidy last year.
right.
Could they do something along those lines? I don't know. That would be fun. I think Ospreay's
Yeah,
gonna have a match with like someone. No offense to Orange Cassidy, but like a bigger name. But
yeah. I think
if
if
Best
he
Friend's getting involved with Aussie Open, that would be cool to have him have another match with Orange.
and I mean, if he is injured, putting him in a 6-man,
Yeah,
that you can protect him a little bit.
that's true. That's true.
So, and oh boy, hey, we'll take it. Um, Ethan Page in ring. This, as cool as this segment was, it's very confusing.
Yes, I was very confused because Matt Hardy came out and said, we had it in the contract that if Hook beat you, Ethan
Right.
Page, we're no longer under contract to the firm." And then everyone goes, "Yay!" And he goes, "Also, I get to choose the stipulation for our next match." And everyone goes, "Yay!" And he goes, "But if we win, we're no longer under contract to the firm." Like, aren't they already
Yeah.
not under contract to the firm?
Yes, that's why I'm cracking up, because I thought I screwed up, and that's exactly what I wrote down verbatim.
Yeah, but as I was watching it, I'm like, wait, he said if they win next week, they're not under contract, but they're already not under contract because he said Hook. Like, I was so confused. Like, did Matt
Yeah.
Hardy screw up? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. If he did, it's amazing, and I'm glad they just rolled with it.
Yeah.
But let's just say that I think Big Bill may have killed Isaiah
Oh
Cassidy.
yeah, he like shoved him like right into the side of the ring.
I mean, that was. Did you notice that his sunglasses broke? So he had
No.
to smash his face against
Yeah.
the ring.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, but yeah.
Yeah, like if
I
you
just saw him hit hard. I didn't know where he hit, but he like went flying.
yeah, like that was brutal. Um, Hook shows up. I
Yes.
like I like um Hook with a personality.
Yes, I do too. He's doing
Eh,
well.
yeah, and still were just a man down. It would have been really nice if someone else could have came out and helped them.
Yes.
And then talk about surprise.
Yeah.
The Hardy
Huge
music
surprise.
hits, and people were kind of confused for a second, and then boom, Jeff freaking Hardy shows
Yes.
up.
And he didn't even have time to dance. He just ran out
No,
this
no
time.
dancing this time.
No dancing.
Straight to business. He did paint his chair though. Thought that
Yes, of
was
course.
weird.
You need to paint your chair before you're going to attack somebody with a chair.
Right.
It's as if he knew he was going to be needed to come out and hit someone with a
Right.
chair.
Yeah, he's pre-planned, and
Now,
that was just
what do you think of Jeff being back, like as a person, not like storyline wise? It's really cool.
right.
Like, it was a cool comeback. It was I like Jeff Hardy, but what do you think of the obviously the situation involving Jeff Hardy?
I'm gonna say, if I am to believe Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy is putting his word, his reputation on the line, and he said that everything's cool, Jeff's cool, Jeff's going to be able to handle it, this, that, and the other. Now, if all that's true, and he never touches another drop of anything again, I'm all in on this. But
Yes.
I understand that the road is a different ball game,
Yeah.
and I also understand, like, I mean, I had never had a problem like that, but when you're around your buddies, sometimes it's much easier to have one or two extras.
Right.
If that, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just kind of human nature.
And it
So,
seems to me like it's a little soon. Like, I would have liked to see him, and maybe he was like going crazy at home, and like that's why he wanted to come back. Like, maybe
right,
he like it was too like he was being more tempted to do something bad at home because he was just sitting around. Like, maybe
right,
that's who he is. I don't know, but I would have liked to see him, be clean and sober for a while, and then he could say, I haven't had a drink in 6 months or 8 months or whatever long it's been,
right,
and I'm fine. So now I can come back. And you're right. I'm a little worried that like he's back on the road. He's like back. And Jeff Hardy doesn't wrestle at anything other than like breakneck jumping off
right.
stuff speed. right? Which I'm also worried about. Like, I'm worried he's going to
Right.
come back and like jump off a ladder immediately. And like, there's never been any connection that I know of between his like substance abuse issues and the way he wrestles. But I feel like they kind of have to be at least somewhat connected. Like, if you're jumping off onto ladders for 20 years, like, I'm sure that hurts. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's why he turned to various substances, because he is in pain, right? Like, so I'm a little, it's cool to have him back. I think he's a great wrestler. I love Jeff Hardy. Like, I want him around. I want him to like do cool things. I want him to be in a team with Matt. I'm slightly worried because he's going to be back jumping off ladders and driving around with his friends. And yeah, I don't know.
Now, I'll put the other side of the coin. And he shouldn't have to, because they're both adult men, but Matt can easily just shadow him at all times.
Yeah. You know, I would hope that Matt would do that, because I mean, not just because he cares about his brother, but also like, this is his last chance as a wrestler, basically. Like, if he screws up again, it's over, right? No one's going to call him back. So he cares about him, you know, personally, but also his career. So I would hope that I hope that Matt is like, because it's always hard when someone says, "Oh no, don't worry, I'm cool, I can have one." It's hard. It's going to be hard for Matt to be like, "No, you can't." Like, you can't. It's hard to like tell someone, another adult human, what they can and can't do. So I don't know. I hope that that Matt follows him around. I hope that Jeff's committed, and I hope that they have a plan for what, because then there are going to be temptations. There are going to be situations where it's hard, where like everyone goes out to a bar after a show. Like, it's going to be hard. So hopefully he has lots of support.
And from all like from the day one, honestly, when he went into rehab after that DUI, like, there were a lot of positive tweets from fellow wrestlers. So
yes,
I think a lot of people are going to have his back, and I don't think people would be so disrespectful to have drinks or I don't want to say people are doing drugs backstage, but I mean, God only knows, maybe they are.
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever's going on back there, yeah. So,
I mean, they do have people, you know, like Mox and like Kenny and Punk who don't drink, and Mox who has had, you know, his own issues or struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it's a backstage environment that recognizes that and is like more respectful to people, because it is like, it's super hard if you're someone who struggles with this to like, everyone goes to a bar and you don't want to not go, but you also want to like not drink. So maybe they have a backstage environment that like doesn't do that. Maybe they don't go out to bars because half the roster doesn't drink or something, right? So maybe it'll be easier. I don't know.
Yeah, and I hope, not only do I hope that they have a backstage environment where people don't drink and buy into that, but I hope that it's like welcomed. Like, we live in a culture of pressure to bleed into drinking for some reason.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Everybody's guilty of it. You know, like, someone comes over your house, you crack open a beer, like, you don't even offer it to them, like, you just hand them alcohol.
Right.
It's weird.
And it's weird to like not drink. It's weird to like, if everyone's drinking, for you not to drink, everyone's gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" Right? So
yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that'll be the case with Jeff. Everyone knows why he's not drinking.
Right.
But yeah, the culture is a very peer pressure drinking culture.
Oh yeah. Well, we just celebrated Easter this past Sunday, and I walked into my aunt's house, and my dad literally looked and just waved, opened the refrigerator, opened a beer, handed it to me, and said hello.
Right.
Like, it's just, I never thought of it till right now. Drinking culture is very odd when it comes to that.
Yes.
But
hopefully he has enough people around him. He has,
yes,
not just Matt, because Matt's one person, right? So I can see him. Not that I'm saying this would ever happen. I don't know these people personally, but I can see, Jeff being able to talk Matt into like, no, I'm fine. Don't worry, I'm fine.
Oh yeah,
And like, okay, you're my brother. I trust you. You're fine. But like, I think he needs more people. Like, he needs someone else to be like, are you sure? Like, he needs a lot of people like around him to like not be condescending and not be controlling, but to be like, look, Jeff, we all know what's happened before and why it can't happen again.
Yeah, and I mean, you watch any of these Dark Side of the Rings or anything like these, when you're that sort of addict, you're right. Like these people like lie to their mothers
Right.
to, you know, to get their fix. So
Right.
yeah, I really hope I hope Jeff sticks to his guns, but I hope the people around him stick to their guns too and don't get lazy.
Right. Yeah, and obviously I think it goes without saying, like, I hope he doesn't, I don't even know if he's allowed to. I hope he's not driving anywhere, just in general.
Oh
Because
yeah, that is, yeah, he does.
yeah.
He doesn't need to.
Yeah. Especially like
Or
he's a rich guy. He doesn't need to ever drive anywhere.
that's what I was just gonna say. Kenny Omega, he gave a little, I guess it was kind of a promo, gave a warning to the BCC and condemned their actions against one Don Callis.
I thought it was a really good segment. Like, I thought it was a really good
I
promo.
was
He did a good
it,
job.
it was awesome because like Kenny is never serious, and
Right.
this was insanely serious because
Yeah,
I
he
was like,
wasn't like joking or like, yeah, it was good.
yeah, like I kept waiting for the, oh, he's gonna flip out and like flip the chair over at the end or something. Like,
Right.
nope. It was just this cool, calm, and just this very serious warning. It was just super cool.
It was really good. Yeah.
Um, do we get a 6 or 8 man? Like, do you get the whole BCC involved,
Yeah, I think you
or
do.
10 man?
I think
10.
it depends
I mean,
on, well, there's four in the BCC.
four. There's four in this. Yeah. So do you get an 8?
And yeah, you get an 8-man because I'd say you do eventually. I think this is leading to like uh the Elite and Hangman.
And
The
Hangman.
Bucks, Kenny and Hangman against
Yeah.
Moxley, Claudio, Yuta, and Danielson.
Oh, now I'm just. Is this blood and guts?
I mean, yeah, they could. That would be cool.
Well, if you're doing that, then that gets you the women's blood and guts we've been calling for,
Yeah.
because that could be done the same night.
Yeah. I would actually like them to do 2 separate nights because I don't know if I'd want to watch 2 blood and guts matches in a row.
Good call.
Like maybe do it 2 weeks in a row. Like have like, or at least put it on Rampage or something, or like just so it's not. I'd do 2 weeks in a row. Because if you put it on Rampage, the one on Rampage is obviously going to be considered the lesser one. And not just because it's Rampage, right? So I would do it 2 weeks in a row, or like to give them a bit of a break, because I wouldn't want to watch 2 in a row. Not that they would be bad matches, just 2 in a row is a little much.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Nakazawa wrestling in khakis? Because that was hilarious.
Absolutely hilarious. Okay, I do have a problem with what happened here. So we'll get into is Claudio and Mox versus Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler. Yes. Obviously, super squash. They just attack them, and honestly, the crowd was behind Nakazawa and Cutler, which I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
But do you think Kenny and the Bucks let it go just a little too long? I mean, I
agree.
Okay.
I didn't think of that, but like, yeah, if you're friends with them,
exactly.
Like, why you're like, hey, why aren't you helping? Why did you wait to help me later?
Yeah, it's like, oh, they were beating us up for 10 minutes, and then you showed up.
I guess because it looked like the Elite guys didn't want to, like Nakazawa and Cutler I'm talking about, like they didn't want to lose, right? So like when they were in submission holds or whatever, the other one broke it up to like they wanted to win this match. So I could see maybe the rest of the Elite, like, okay, we're gonna let's see how it goes. Like, let's see what they want to do this on their own. So we're gonna give them some time to do it on their own. But in the same sense, like, yeah, they were beat up pretty badly. So.
I mean, the segment, it existed and it proved its point, but it was, I don't know. I don't know if it was necessarily needed, but it made sense, I guess.
This one and the next match, the women's match, they both kind of seem like they're stalling, like they're waiting for something, like they're
Yes.
dragging the story out a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're waiting on, but I mean, I'm willing to wait, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean
know what it
the
is.
BCC Elite feud is going to be good,
Oh
so
yeah,
they can have 1 week where it's like just fine. Like it was still
yeah.
fine. Like it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't bad.
No, no, no. It was
Suddenly everyone's
just
stabbing each other with screwdrivers, which
I totally forgot that that was like a callback.
yeah, so did I
And
until I saw it on Twitter.
yeah, it was. Oh man, AEW just like the way these guys and girls think is it's on a different level.
So do you think the Bucks are actually hurt? I know the reports came out on all the insiders being like, oh, they're
Hmm.
legitimately hurt. That was a way to write them off by getting them attacked like that. But now they're here. He had tape on his shoulder, but like, are they actually injured, or was that
Okay. You
them
you
working? Was that
you
them
know
working the media?
you know how my mind works. I'm
Yes.
sorry. If I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about physiology and like the human body, but I know if you have even a partially torn bicep, you don't do what Matt Jackson was doing
Right.
just last night. And then on the other side of the coin, if you have a separated shoulder, now like I've played hockey with people that have separated their shoulders so many times that they could just be having a conversation with you and their shoulder goes out, they can pop
Right.
it back in.
Right.
So, not saying that Nick Jackson has a shoulder that can do that,
Right.
but if it was just out 6 days ago, like
Yeah. I mean,
they're
it
not
depends. Separated shoulder. It does depend on how separate. Like they can just
right,
kind of put it back in sometimes, but
right.
it's the
But
bicep one that makes me doubt it a bit more. Because if you tore your bicep, even a partial tear, like
like there would be a bruise the
right.
size of like
We saw Cody when he like tore his pec, like how purple
right.
he was. Man, lots of Cody references tonight. But
Lots of
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, I thought very early on that that's a work.
yeah,
Um, well, talk about things that were weird, but it came full circle.
yeah.
Shivani backstage with Swerve, Prince Nana, and Brian Cage,
Yes.
and I even wrote down I don't know what that was, but it was odd. Uh, it made sense in the grand scheme of things about 10 minutes later, but
It felt to me, and this is not me trying to be insulting to Prince Nana or Brian Cage. It felt to me like Swerve was just like he's he's on a different level with his like storytelling and his promo ability. That
hmm
like they're they seem out of place
yeah,
alongside him. Like he had a kind of like a more subtle or more less obvious promo he wanted to cut, and the other two like they cut wrestling promos, right? So
right.
it didn't seem it was like the argument people had when Hogan joined the NWO. Like Hall and Nash had like a realism kind of aspect to it, and Hogan cuts wrestling promos because that's what he knows how
Right.
to do. So this seemed like Swerve kind of being, I'm going to do something later on. I'm like, I have another situation that I'd like to handle as well. And the other two were like, yeah, let me tell you something, brother. Like it was just like it
Yeah.
didn't fit,
Uh, but I
but
mean,
it
it
made
all
sense
makes
later.
yeah, it
Yes,
all made sense later.
yes,
Um, before the main event, Sky Blue and Riho took on Ruby and Tony.
yes. Do you think Sky
Uh,
Blue ever wins? Does she ever win a match? Like on
I don't
Dynamite?
know. Uh, she like, unfortunately, she might be like the oh, I can't think of who I was going to think of. Oh, she might be the Mick Foley of the women's
Right.
division at this
Yeah,
point.
like she just like she's likable and like like pretty good in the ring, so like she can
Yeah,
just get beat a lot. Like
and people just still love her, and
right.
so um now, well, hold on, we'll get there in a second. Anyways, Ruby and Tony, they win in a clean match, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, Jamie Hayter makes the run in for the save, and then we end up with just face to face Britt and Saraya.
Yes.
Now the internet made a gigantic deal that Britt was wearing green,
Oh
and that
yeah.
she was stuck in the ring with Saraya, and then nothing like the internet said that they could have gotten into it more.
Right. They weren't that physical.
Right.
Right.
Uh, After saying that, what do you think?
I didn't think of it, but that sounds like something AEW would do, like kind of hint
Right.
at something. This situation reminded me when you were talking about didn't the Elite let them get beat up a little bit too long? This reminded me of that because Jamie Hayter came out and then like Britt Baker let her get beat up a little bit and then was like, now I'm gonna come out.
Yeah. Yeah, like you were obviously backstage like hanging out, like
Yeah, they came
you
out like
saw her run
a
away.
minute away from each other, but like she let her go first. And in character wise, it works in this sense because I could see two sides. First, I could see Britt being like, "Oh, I don't want to take the spotlight away from Jamie, so I'm gonna let her go out first."
Right.
And then the evil side of Britt Baker being like, "I'm gonna let her go out first, get beat up, and then I get to save the day, and
That
it gets to
yes.
be about me, right?" But
Oh,
yeah, I think I didn't think of that with the green, but maybe. The only reason
see,
I the
yeah.
only reason I don't think it is because they're having a match next week in Pittsburgh.
See, but I was thinking of this too. Again, it's the perfect time to do something like this because in Pittsburgh, it's going to be like Long Island and MJF. Britt
Right,
can
but they
do no
can't they
wrong.
can't they can't turn her heel in Pittsburgh. No one's gonna boo her.
That's what I mean. Like this is the perfect time to hint at it because you
Yeah,
can give her like
I
heelish.
don't think she'll
Right,
turn
right.
next week. There's no way.
No, no,
Because
no, no,
she's
no.
gonna get she's gonna if she hit Jamie Hayter, like she would just get cheered.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I meant. Like next week, you tease it this week, then no matter what, she's getting cheered this week. Then you
Right.
have something. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. I mean, they are gonna
That's
break up eventually. I just
yeah.
don't know. I don't think she's gonna join the Outcast though.
See, neither do I, but the internet seems to think they do. Think that she
Yeah.
is.
I don't think she fits just because their whole thing is like they're
Yeah, they were
outsiders.
like
She's an original. Like I could see her turning on Jamie, being like, I'm the star here. I want all the
right.
attention. But I can't see her joining the Outcasts.
Yeah, if anybody's going to join the Outcast, in my opinion, if it's someone on the roster now, it'll be Athena.
Yeah.
And if they add somebody, I think they would add like Naomi or
Yeah. Trinity.
wait,
Yeah.
Trinity. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Uh, but of course, everybody thinks that it's going to be Mercedes, but I think maybe eventually, but I don't think we see anything until getting close to Forbidden Door with
Yeah. I
her.
think Mercedes kind of wants to do her own thing for a while too. Like that's why she went to Japan and
Right.
she wants to establish herself as like a singles star.
Yeah, and get away from like I understand that she likes money too, but especially this storyline right now, they're literally calling themselves outsiders because they were in WWE.
Right.
Like she doesn't even want those letters near her at this point.
Yeah. She wants to completely get away from like everything she did there and like yeah.
Right. And more power to her
Yeah,
for
she
doing
wants to
that. Like
establish herself on her own as
right.
like her own person. She can do this all by herself, and yeah, she's doing
Yeah.
great so far. So
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
offense, no issue with that. Like she's doing great. So.
Right. So yeah, no complaints.
Yeah, I didn't think of the stuff with Brett. I can't see her turning. I can't see her joining the Outcast. That wouldn't work. Maybe they
I
could
agree.
explain it. Maybe she could cut a promo that would explain it, but it doesn't seem like it would work to me.
Yeah, like I don't know. Uh
That does seem like a purposeful move, though. Her in black and green.
Totally. Totally.
Like maybe she's not going to join them, but they want people to think she might.
True. True. Just plant a seed of disbelief in there.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Uh Now, we always talk on this podcast that when and if we don't like something, we let it be known.
Yes.
And I'm gonna get on my soapbox here and
All right.
say that uh in the history of Dynamite, there has to be the worst match that's ever happened, and I believe this was it.
In
Uh
like a main event spot? Yes.
yes. Oh yeah, not I mean, yeah, as
Like
far as
main
a
events.
way to
Yeah.
close the show, as far as
Yeah.
main event, yeah. This was the worst main event. Uh, Jericho looked terrible. Keith Lee looked terrible. They just looked off. Uh,
Yeah,
at
they
one
both looked like not out of shape. I'm not going to say that because they're clearly in better shape than I will ever be.
correct.
But they looked like, yeah, a little slow, a little
The
behind.
match
Like
was slow. Yeah.
yeah, it was like
They killed
whatever
the crowd.
storyline they planned, whatever the story they planned to have, like it was off. You're right.
Yeah.
They didn't hit what they needed to hit, and like even Garcia interfering on the outside, like it didn't work.
Right. They
It seemed
killed the
off too.
crowd.
Like it seemed like he was interfering at the wrong times, or his interference wasn't even working. Like it was just.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're right. They
The
killed the crowd for sure.
crowd was dead. I at one point I looked at my phone and I was like, oh geez, there's still 10 minutes left. Like I thought there was
Yeah.
like I was I had lost a lot of interest. Like
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I did. I usually watch Dynamite like pretty closely.
Yeah.
But I like started like reading the internet.
Yeah. Oh, I wrote nothing down because I was
All I
waiting for
remember is
something to
Keith Lee had a
happen.
cape for some reason. He still continues to wear a cape, which I don't. He
Yes.
left WWE, and everyone was like, "Well, I'm glad he doesn't have to have their weird, silly gimmicks anymore." And now he's showing up in a cape. Like, why does he have a cape?
Well, see, somebody on Twitter brought up the good point that now that excuse me, now that Adam Cole's involved with this, what if this is all just a Jericho ruse and it's making fun of WWE? Like, hey, Keith, let's do something really dumb. And they were gonna have Adam Cole manage him
Right.
when he was Bearcat. So how like stupid would it be in a funny way if like they do that here just for like a week?
Yeah, I could see that, but I never like we're gonna be terrible just to show you how terrible could be. Like I'd rather just like be entertaining than like be like fake bad just to like make fun of someone. Like yeah, I would rather just have good wrestling.
I agree. It's just the main event was just it was bad.
It was bad, and it makes me a little worried about first of all Keith Lee's future, and because he hasn't been doing great since Survivor Night Glory broke up. I mean, he was away for a while.
True.
But he hasn't, I don't know. And it makes me worried about this Adam Cole Jericho feud because I thought before, like, I'm kind of over Jericho right now, but like he could still wrestle pretty well. So the match with Adam Cole will still be a good match, but like, will it? Maybe it won't be. Like, maybe it's actually going to also be terrible, right? Like,
yeah, like I mean, I understand when you're a professional athlete, when your time is dwindling, you have to, like right now, like Dante Martin probably does not have to wrestle every day and can do what he does in the ring fairly easily without doing it every day.
Right.
Now,
when his ankle's not broken, but yes.
When his ankle's not broken, correct.
Yes.
Now, someone like Jericho realizes that, hey, if I don't wrestle every week, it's gonna show.
Right. Like you get out of shape, your timing falls off. You're like, yeah.
So, this might be a slap in his face. It's like, oh man, I am wrestling every week and I just stunk the place up. Maybe I need, not necessarily less singles matches, but more tag matches or be more of a like a showpiece as opposed to.
And I'm not trying to say Jericho is bad. Like he's not.
No,
he's not. But his character is boring at this point.
At this point, it's very boring.
And yeah, he's also not having good matches. So
yeah,
something has to be different.
Yeah, and like, hey, just like we said a couple weeks ago, maybe just Fozzy going on a 2-week summer tour. It doesn't have to be a long hiatus. If he misses 2 or 3 shows,
yeah,
that would be sufficient.
Now, do you think it could just be like it was just a bad night? Like they've never wrestled each other. Maybe it was just.
Oh yeah,
bad.
absolutely, that could have
And
been the
like
case.
now Keith Lee can have a match with Swerve and it's going to be great, and Adam Cole can have a match with Jericho and it's going to be great, and just they didn't work well together this night? Or is it like a that's a more serious problem, like Jericho is out of shape, or Keith Lee's has something going on, right? Like, is it something more serious than just they had a bad night, or is they just have a bad night?
I think I'm going to avoid answering your question and
Go
say
for it.
it was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I do think that they were definitely off, but I also think that, you know, you can put Keith Lee in with most, but there are certain people that, and maybe Jericho is one of them, where Keith Lee isn't strong in 100% of the categories. Where if you put him in a match like with Swerve, where Keith Lee is deficient, Swerve can pick up the pace. Where Jericho might be at the point of his career where he can't pick up all the pace,
Right.
and if
Like
he has a
that
bad
one move
night,
where he caught the what's it called? The double knees, whatever Jericho calls it, code breaker, I think.
yeah,
And he was going to powerbomb him. Like, he did do it, but it took
right,
longer than it usually would. And could someone like Swerve, who's a bit younger, like assist? Because obviously wrestlers assist each other with moves, right? Is it just that Jericho couldn't like assist that move?
right, or some like a younger guy might have been able to just say, "Hey, I'm gonna roll out of this. We're gonna do something else." Like
Right.
Jericho might not have been able to. I don't want to say not maneuver, but he's in better, like you just said, he's in better shape than we both are. But
Right. Like, I feel bad saying that. Like, he's lost a step when like he's clearly
right,
still a professional athlete, right? But
right, yeah. So I think it was just a little bit of both. He had an off night, and Keith Lee has some. See, and again, it makes it sound like I'm talking junk on Keith Lee, but I'm not. Like, Keith Lee has some weaknesses in some areas that Jericho couldn't overcome. We'll say.
right. Yeah, I agree.
Um, but other than that,
I did like kind of the flashback to last week where Adam Cole's music hit and he came down and just kind of like
did
looked
the
at
stare
Jericho and
back.
then left.
Yeah,
Like, I thought that was good.
that had a very Monday Night Raw vibe
Yeah.
to it. Like,
Yeah.
they would do things like that from time to time, uh, and just the way that it ended, uh, it was fun. The show, all in all, was fun. Just
Yeah.
that 15-minute main event was
I
garbage.
think it was Wade Keller who said if you watch the 15-minute main event and you did it double speed and it was over in 7 minutes, it'd be a good match. Which I kind of agree with. Like, it was just it was slow and long, which was not good.
Yeah. Now, see,
And they have no storyline with each other, right? Like, Keith Lee and Jericho have no.
That's true.
If your match is falling apart or your match isn't going over well, if you have a feud, like if you're a storyline or if you have a history with someone, you can like lean on that a little bit more. And then the match itself doesn't have to be good because there's just so much emotion involved, or you can, have so much storyline involved. But this has none of those things. It had no storyline. It had no, good wrestling. It was slow. It was long. Like I said, even Danny Garcia, like interfering on the outside, like it didn't even work. Like it seemed awkward. And like, he's not even in the match. Right. So like something was just, and they had nothing to fall back on. They had no history or storyline to fall back on.
That's such a good point, because once I decided I didn't care anymore, they could have lit the house on fire and I wouldn't have cared.
Right. Which, like, if they had a storyline, like if this was a culmination of like, a 2-month long storyline, you would want to see it even if the match wasn't necessarily good. Like what I'm thinking of is like, Goldberg and Undertaker had that match in Saudi Arabia that was dreadful. Yes. And they both like got concussions and it was like it was just a terrible match.
Yes.
But people were like pumped the whole way through because it was Goldberg against the Undertaker and they'd never wrestled before. And it was like, it had that aspect to it that like you were still excited to see it because you just really wanted to see this match, even though it wasn't a good match. Like, this match doesn't have that. I really want to see this. Like, it's Jericho and Keith Lee. Like, independently, they're both fine. But like, did anyone, if you were fantasy booking a Dynamite, would you have ever booked Keith Lee against Jericho? I wouldn't have.
No. never in a million years.
So it's not even like something that, these guys, I've always wanted to see them wrestle. Like I could have cared, like they could have never wrestled each other, and I never would have thought of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when Punk got injured, I was like, oh man, he never got to wrestle Kenny Omega or Swerve or a bunch of guys I wanted to see Punk wrestle. But like if Jericho retired, I wouldn't be like, oh man, he never got to face Keith Lee. Like I never.
Right.
That's not a match I ever had any interest in seeing. So that hurt it too, I think.
I agree.
And I feel like I'm making fun of both of them, and I'm not. Like they're
same here. Like it feels dirty that we're doing this, but I'm also not gonna stick up for him just because I feel bad for talking talking about it either.
Right.
But all in all, fun show though.
Yes, overall, very good show. And it was another good AEW's had a long string now of like very good storyline focused shows. Like they had good matches along the way, but it wasn't just like where they would book like these are 4 dream matches in a row. Bang, 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 bang. They were all incredible. Like they haven't had a show like that in a while. And that's fine because they've had a lot of really good stories. Like there's so much happening, like the Outcast stuff, the stuff with MJF, the stuff with the Elite and the BCC. Like there's so many angles going on that it's interesting. And it makes you want to watch next week.
Yes, it does.
And you'll be there.
And I will be there. And real quick, before we go, I just thought of this right now. We're going to come full circle, and I have a question for you. Going back to the CM Punk stuff.
Yes.
Do you think that, I'm just going to say it, Jeff Jarrett had something to do with this?
Punk coming back or the storylines?
Punk coming back and getting over Jericho. Like, do you think
possibly
Jarrett sat down and was like, Jericho, I respect your opinion, but get over yourself. There's too much money on the table here. You could think this is your locker room all you want, but we're looking at money.
Yeah, I think so because Jarrett's been around forever and he's been in a million locker rooms. He's been in like WCW, WWF, WWE, TNA. Like he's been everywhere, and he saw his dad like do stuff in Memphis. Like he's been in so many places that he can be like, hey guys, this is not like you're not going to screw this up for us because you're mad at each other. Like
yeah, like hey, I've seen guys that literally, if there wasn't if there wasn't boys in the back, they would have killed each other, but they knew when the bell rang, you did your business because it was best for everybody in the back. So, and I that's one of the people, like I understand Jericho respects Tony Khan because of the money and his prestige in football and sports and everything, but Jericho respects Jeff Jarrett in a different way. And if Jarrett says, and I don't want to say that Jarrett's taking over like man, but if Jarrett says Punk's coming back and we're going to do everything in our power to get him back, I don't care what the Bucks say, that's going to probably happen. Because again, Jarrett's looking at the bottom, and again, that's his job. He is part of their bottom line.
And I agree with what Biddy actually said a couple of weeks ago, that Tony Khan is he's a businessman. He does business, but he also he's a wrestling fan, right? So to him, not saying he's like a mark, which people on the internet call him, but there's a part of him that he probably thinks, oh yeah, it is really cool that I get to hang out with Chris Jericho. He works for me. So maybe he's a little bit less strict on people because he just thinks it's cool to like have them, like if I got to hang out with a bunch of wrestlers, I would think it was cool too. Right. Absolutely. Whereas Jarrett, like he is not starstruck by any of these guys. Right. So maybe he can talk to them on a different level where like, Tony Khan's always like maybe kind of not in awe, but has like a bit of extra respect when he talks to Jericho, where Jeff Jarrett could be like, not to say he's being disrespectful, but he can talk to him as a like, hey, we're both wrestlers. Like, smarten up. Right. Like,
Jericho has a little bit of a carte blanche with the boys where he could be like, sit down for a minute.
Right.
Yeah. You're totally right. And it just makes that might go down in history in the grand scheme of things, is the most important hire that AEW has ever
It
done.
really was. Like, I didn't think about it at the time, but like, yeah, he's done great stuff. And even like, yeah, the touring they're doing now, like that's all him.
Yeah.
Obviously
And,
not him by himself, but
right.
he's an important part of that.
I mean, just his contacts in general. I mean,
Right.
Oh, wow. What a
Now,
time.
now something else interesting I just saw. AEW tweeted an hour ago.
Uh-oh.
Tomorrow on Rampage, 2 of the world's top teams will appear as IWGP Tag Team Champions Aussie Open defending against Best Friends, and we'll hear from FTR for the first time. But then they have a photo of FTR, like a actual photo, not a Photoshop, of FTR with their belts and Aussie Open with their belts, like face to face, holding the belts up against each other. Are they gonna do an FTR Aussie Open for both titles or for one set of titles?
Oh.
Because not tomorrow, but they're just saying, oh, they're both going to be on the show. Like, is something going to happen there?
Since they both just won, I would say title for title at Forbidden Door, but then somebody has to get screwed.
Right.
And lose their title reign.
Right.
Oh man,
but
that's so
like
fun.
They wouldn't do a photo shoot of it if it wasn't going to go somewhere, right? So all right. Exciting stuff.
Dude, this is incredible. This is so fun. Well, do you have any closing remarks, my friend?
No, I'm pretty good right now. Dynamite's been great. A lot going on. When I was talking about storylines that I want to see what happens, Bullet Club, I want to see what happens there too.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
So much stuff. So many things.
Yeah, same here. It's fun. It's a heck of a time to be a wrestling fan. And just before we go here, I just want to say something sports related, but not wrestling related. If you listen to the podcast on a weekly basis, you basically know that me and Rick are huge hockey fans. That's how we became friends. We're both Pittsburgh Penguin fans.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it looks like the door on the Sidney Crosby area. Good Lord, I can't even talk. The Sidney Crosby era is now officially closed. We did not make the playoffs.
I don't know if it's officially closed, but they did not make the playoffs. Yes.
You don't think they're just going to tear down the house?
I think they're going to trade a lot of guys who aren't the top guys.
Correct.
But I think that could. I don't think they're going to bottom out. I don't think they're just going to trade them off for nothing. I think they're going to try to stay competitive.
Okay.
I think as long as Crosby's there, they're not going to tank.
Well, Crosby, he will not let that happen.
I think he'll refuse to tank.
Yeah, he'll explode before
yeah
before he phones it in. Okay, well that gives me a little bit of hope anyway.
But yes, end of an era. First time since 2006. So I was thinking, people on the internet were talking. Think about what you were doing in 2006 and how long it's been.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago. How old?
So it was a long time ago.
How many years ago was that?
16, 17. But I think they missed 16 years they made the playoffs. So 17 years now.
Okay, so it'll be 17 years ago.
Yes.
So I was 30, 43. So 33. I was 5.
Yeah.
Right?
No, 2006. Sorry. I was 25. So you must have been older.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 2 years older. I was 28.
Yeah.
That's 27. Wow. I can't add. 3 years would have been 28. Man, I'm terrible at math. I used to build stuff for a living. Believe that.
There you go.
I can read a tape measure, but I can't add and subtract. Anyways, everybody, thank you very much for listening and being a part of our little community here.
And we're coming up on 1 year, so thank you.
We are coming up on 1 year. Thank you very much. What was I going to say? Next week, I will be at Dynamite with our friend of the show, Biddy. So if you see me, come say hi. If you see us, come say hi.
Yeah, hopefully we can get Biddy on too. It's people like Biddy. We like Biddy.
Yeah, the ratings go up. Well, not ratings. Listens go up whenever.
Yes, whenever Biddy's on. So we'll try to bring Biddy back.
Yes, and she also thinks that me and you stay up past like 10 o'clock because she was like, after the show we can grab a drink and talk about things, and I'm like, I planned on grabbing the car and driving home as fast as possible
and immediately going to sleep. Yes. This is why
It's
we
like,
complain about Rampage all the time. It's like staying up till 11.
right.
I still haven't seen All Access because like it's on late.
I see. I fell asleep during All Access. Funny story. We're gonna pull the curtain back. I fell asleep and I woke up and thought only 2 minutes had passed, and I
Nice.
recorded because remember I told you I recorded it.
Right.
I recorded the replay of last week's. It was on after it.
Oh,
I had
nice.
been asleep for 45 minutes, not 2.
Nice. Nice.
So, because I was like, I swear I saw this one. Like, what's it? No, that happened last week. And then I looked at the thing. Nope, said repeats. I recorded the wrong one.
Very nice.
Yes. So, anyways,
Thank you.
thank you. I will be there next week. Hit us up at Elite City everywhere. If you have trouble finding us, Google us. And until next time, later.